Hi, everybody. My name is Gary Ugarek, and I am a consultant for FDA regulated industries such as biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, OTC products, as well as medical devices. And I wanted to take this opportunity to touch upon a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the recruiting process for contractors and consultants to meet organizational needs on the short term. And I recently have built a consulting website related to my business, and it's www.GeForceQualitySolutions.com. And the GeForce is spelled GeForce, much like the video card. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the recruiting process. And a lot of that stems from the fact that I have been in the discussion with multiple recruiters over the last 7 days for positions that I am extremely overqualified for, and to the other side of that, positions that I am perfectly qualified for, but the organization they're representing is not offering the correct salary. And a lot of this stems from the talent acquisition team and the recruiting agencies or staffing agencies not truly understanding the scope of the project that they're trying to staff. And a lot of this comes from, as many of the recruiters, and this is not a bad thing, have degrees in marketing. They're salespeople. And one of my pet peeves that surrounds this is that some of these recruiters actually take the time to learn their background, the background on the organization, what the project, whether it's a remediation project, a startup project, GMP readiness, PAI readiness, whatever. But they're not getting engaged in that proper conversation of compensation that corresponds with the scope and responsibilities of a project. Give an example, there was a recruiter that reached out to me. It was the second day on the job for an organization that I have worked for in the past, and presented to me a project that was very similar in nature that I had just finished doing in May of 2017 for another organization, and the project was with one of the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies. Now, because this guy was new at his gig and he didn't really understand a lot of the terminology of what he was reading in the job description, I decided to spend the extra time discussing it with him, giving him some tips and tricks, things to search for in Google, some videos to check out on YouTube, things of that nature that would help him better understand. But I also discussed with him that I just finished an exact replica project for another multi-billion-dollar company, and the compensation that he was offering, which was about $60 an hour, was approximately $35 to $40 an hour short of what it should be compensating for a consultant like myself, especially when the job description was asking for 8 to 10 years experience. So one of the things is I recently ran into this too as a project is an organization that was representing me that brought me on board never bothered to take the time to go on site to the client site and actually have a sit down with the stakeholders, process owners, and to truly understand the scope of the project. And there was some turmoil early on in about the hours worked, hours being billed, and things of that nature. And because I'm one of those consultants that only works on W-2, I also require the overtime component. So if I'm being compensated $120 an hour, we'll say, just hypothetically, my overtime rate is going to be $180 an hour. And some people are like, oh my God, why are you doing that? Go to corp to corp. I don't like doing taxes every 3 months. I don't like having to keep bulk loads of receipts. I like to keep things minimal. My office is always considered my home, where I'm sitting in right now. I happen to be in my basement man cave office, where I've worked comfortably remotely on some projects. Sometimes I bring the work home with me. But still, it's my office. It's what I enjoy. I'm also a big movie buff. As you can see, I got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man behind me. Slimer's over there to my right. Big Ghostbusters fan. Also an Eagles fan. Go Eagles. But one of the things that concerns me is that this organization that I was with truly never bothered to take the time to visit the site and meet with the vice president, the CIO, the CBO, and even the acting CEO, to really understand the scope of what was going on. And even after I had discussed this with them on multiple occasions over the course of the 4 months of the project that I was a part of, simply because my milestones were met, they still didn't get in the car. So knowing that there was a rift between not just the organization, but also the staffing firm, is I helped bring in a friend of mine who is part of a staffing firm out of Massachusetts. And I was able to generate him hundreds of thousands of dollars in business with this organization by providing consultants, contributors, tech writers, things of that nature. And I said to him, get in your Beamer, get down here and have a discussion. Not only did this gentleman, and I don't want to name names because I didn't ask his permission, not only because I've worked with him in the past, did he adhere to my advice, he was able to bring on, from what I understand, there's a total of 8 consultants on the project that his company's providing. That's hundreds of thousands, if not in the millions of dollars of revenue, because he took the initiative to learn what was going on, not just rely off paperwork sent over by the client, but by talking to individuals like me who have their fingers and tentacles into every little tidbit. But he got in his car and came down. He had that piece to it. So that's what was very important. So as I was saying, he jumped in. I'm sorry, I had to pause video for a second. He jumped in his car. He drove down from Boston and recently visited the site. And not only did he get to meet the CIO, the CEO, the CBO, the acting head of CMC, and not only have lunch and dinner with the consultants and contractors that he brought on site, he got to really meet every individual that is a process owner, a stakeholder in this PAI readiness project. And that's what's missing from a lot of recruiting agencies. But this individual took the time to learn the terminology of this project, to learn the scope, the proper scope of the project, have the insight to reach out to other individuals in the organization. And because I referred him in, I also was able to connect him with other folks so that he could get additional insight, more than I could give to him. And that's what I feel account executives for these staffing firms need to really be doing. And your junior level recruiters, I understand you need them, you want to keep things moving and fluid, but you've got to have these people understand the terminology of what's in these job descriptions and understand what they're recruiting for. You know, I know speaking for myself, and I'm sure there's a lot of consultants and contractors that are getting tired of like, oh, I don't really know what this is, but this is what they want. Can you do this? That doesn't really sell me as wanting to join your organization and be a part of this, because your recruiter, your junior recruiter, hasn't taken the time to even learn what they're looking for. And this resume searching software isn't going to help them with this keyword thing. So one gentleman I spoke to today, he was really green and the project was cheap. So I actually decided, you know what, forget it. You're not going to be able to pay what I want for this project, but I'm going to give you insight so that you understand what you're looking for. And that when you get into these discussions with other people that may be willing to work that cheap, which I doubt he'll find, you'll understand the discussion points. So I gave him tips and tricks on going through those keywords in the resume, Googling them, getting the 30,000-foot overview in airline parlance, looking at videos on GMP, Quality 101, pharmaceutical quality systems, and things of that nature, because he was recruiting for a pharmaceutical quality project. And that's me, one consultant, doing that because I want to see these guys have a better understanding and make sure they get the right people. But I find that a lot of firms I've worked for in the past don't even bother to do that. And they need to step up their game. And once they do, you're going to see a better link between your client, the person you brought in, and the entire relationship. Watch for more videos coming soon.